Welcome, you marvelous menagerie of miscreants. I am Gomez Adams, and you are watching our very first Halloween special. To my right, my beautiful, lovely wife, Morticia Adams. And to my left, who you might think is Cousin It at first, is really...
Slash from Guns N' Roses.
You forgot thing.
Oh, I didn't see. I'm sorry.
Don't be rude.
Well, today, guys, we're going to be talking about The Thing, the classic horror movie that James here had never seen, and me and Audrey wanted to rewatch, and I think it was a solid pick. So we're going to tell you guys what we thought about it, and hope you guys enjoy.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Cheers, Thing and Tish.
Ding.
So The Thing, released in 1982, directed by John Carpenter, horror film legend. He was well on his way already, having made the Michael Myers Halloween film, 1979, and from there it was just a legendary career. The Thing is also starring Kurt Russell, which is one of my favorite actors of all time, and just an absolute masterpiece of just horror / sci-fi cinema. Really good stuff. First time watching it, and I was just hooked right away. Just so claustrophobic, so bleak, so just frightening.
What do you think?
I really enjoyed it as well. Always have. This is probably like, I haven't watched it a ton of times, but I have watched it before, and I really like it. I like the effects. The alien itself, I think, is super cool. The fact that it like can imitate whatever, I think that's super cool.
Shapeshift and whatnot.
Shapeshift, yeah, and it's super inventive and creative. So.
Music by Ennio Morricone, who a lot of you might know from a lot of westerns and stuff, specifically The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I can still hear that dun dun.
Yeah, very Jaws almost.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and go into our likes about this film. So I'm gonna start with you, Gomez.
That's me. Gomez Adams.
What were your likes for this film?
I already said soundtrack. We discussed the time, the length of the movie. I think the movie is a good length, perfect length. I like that the ending is kind of ambiguous. If anybody talks about The Thing, the practical effects in this movie and the design of the creature itself is first and foremost like what comes to everybody's mind. The adaptability of the creature, the personality of all the survivors, all the characters seem very well fleshed out. Our lead is incredible. You were saying Kurt Russell, what a guy.
The hair on that man.
His sombrero, he's got a sombrero.
I know, right? What's the name of the other actor? I know he's
Childs?
very famous, yeah.
I don't know the names of any of the other actors.
me neither.
What about your likes, James? What other likes did you have?
Just the claustrophobia of it all. I was gonna say that it reminded me of the first Alien movie in terms of I don't know if it was a conscious decision, an influence or not, just complete coincidence. But this is a station of just working Joes in the middle of nowhere near the Arctic, so there's no military, there's no 911 you can call. It's just a group of guys, and this thing comes in, and they're like being in the Arctic, they're stuck in a facility. It's not like they can run out into the mountains to hide or anything.
They're secluded.
So it just helps build the tension, because this thing can not only take shape anywhere, but it can be hiding anywhere. Mm-hmm. You know? So it just adds to, like, you don't know what's, just by being in front of you if you don't have a flashlight kind of thing. Love the puppy. The little puppy at the beginning is so
cute.
Adorable.
Yeah, so cute. And well-trained.
And the other ones, poor dogs, the ones that end up getting like killed, they're like, ah, the ones like
the ones ripping
well, I think one
part
escapes.
by part.
One escapes.
Yeah, one does get away.
I think two of
them. One or two get away.
And he ends up getting killed anyways, which pissed me off. But yeah, he escapes. So thank God.
It pissed Carter off too, or whoever the guy was.
The dog
in charge of the dogs.
And I gotta say, like the part where the doc. It's Blair. But Blair's the one that's doing, like, the thing on the computer, like, trying to figure out what's happening, what this thing really is.
Yeah.
And then it says, like, if it reaches, like,
the world. If it gets out, it's going to kill everybody.
It'll infect, like,
everyone.
And you're just like, holy shit. Like, imagine.
The thing is...
Listen here.
If you're one of the members there, one of the party that's experiencing this, is it almost forces you to, like, kind of go against your instincts to want to live, to want to survive. Like, you realistically would be like, we would probably all have to die instead of like having us, go back to the mainland where we all want to get home to our families and stuff. But that's the last thing we can really do realistically in case we are infected and we don't know.
They were like, this thing's not getting out of here. We're not gonna make it through this, but neither is that thing. And I wouldn't be like that. I'd be like, I'm leaving
Yeah.
the first chance I get.
Yeah,
I know I'm human. You fucks can all stay here if you care that much. I'm leaving. I'm going home.
But yeah, I mean, just the effects, especially the progression of the effects.
Yes.
In fact, some of the scariest parts for me were at the beginning and not the end, where it's more bombastic and more in your face. But the subtle ones really creep me out. Like, I'm thinking about them. I was thinking about them this morning. Like, there's one where one of the members runs outside, so they run after him, and he's kneeling, and he looks at them, and he has, like, lobster hands. And he's just, like, looking at them like, holy shit,
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that's just terrifying.
That's a good point, because I found one of these subtle scares while I was watching it that it didn't really scare me too much in the past. And it's the scene where they're outside, and they find Fuchs' dead body. It's all burnt up. And then McCready's trying to orchestrate people as to what to do, and he's like, "No, you're gonna come with me. We're gonna go check out my apartment, my living quarters." And he's like, "Well, why are we gonna do that?" He's like, "Because last night when I left, I made sure to turn the light off." And the camera looks up to the living quarters, and there's a light on in the window.
That's so.
And I was like,
and
"Oh,
you're just like,
no!"
you get chills, dude.
Yeah, that stuff is so good. It's such a subtle thing.
And I was thinking I feel like John Carpenter played on this idea that's like really scary. The fact of like seeing someone, but they're not really them. And it's been done before with like demons of people being possessed. And you're like, oh, that's not really them. But this time the fact that it's an alien and it becomes this like horrid thing, it's just super cool. And
it just copies them perfectly.
Yeah, and then the sound it makes when it's getting killed is so creepy.
Oh, yeah. I love the sound effects of it screaming. It's just so inhuman.
That would be one of my likes now that I think about it. The fact that like I love when an alien can have a good personality. You know what I mean? Like even without like it talking necessarily or doing like something, but for some reason like it comes through in the movie. You're like this alien has a personality because it's like smart. It's like doing all this.
It's
shit.
like cunning.
Yeah, because like it knows what it's doing. Like it's building a fucking like spaceship underneath the.
Yes, and that's
thing.
what a great. It's not a twist.
I was surprised.
It's not really.
Twist?
I guess it is a twist. Yeah,
I think it's a surprise because I was like, what the hell?
It's a good moment because Blair, this guy who they think, because he's the one that goes crazy after finding out that the alien could destroy everything and just starts destroying everything for some reason and start going nuts with the axe.
Yeah.
So they lock him up, but then he swears he's fine. Like they go about trying to find this thing, and then they come back to see him. He's like, dude, I'm good now. I'm way better. I don't know what was wrong with me before, but I'm good now. You think he's the alien at first because he starts going crazy, and then you don't think he's the alien because he's like, dude, I'm fine. Like everything's good. Like, and he hasn't tried to do anything. But then they're like, where is he at? They can't find him in his locked room. And then they find out there's this tunnel underneath where there's an alien, little baby version of the alien ship that they find. And speaking of the alien ship, that's another subtle, like, just creepy thing is when in the beginning of the movie they go to the Norwegian camp. They see the devastation that has happened there. They find the dude with cut wrists. I love that effect, too.
It's all frozen.
So the blood is all frozen.
Yeah.
And then the big old cut in his neck. But then they go and they find where the giant UFO was under the ice. Where the Norwegians were excavating. Mm-hmm. They find this massive ship, and then just a little bit away they find the cut in the ice. And you're like, what did it look like when it first came out of that ship? Like, and that it was frozen to blocks. They found it, they set it free, and then it destroyed theirs. Just what a creepy like setup.
The alien's like, I'm just here to fuck shit up and leave and go back to my home. So any other likes before we go on to our dislikes?
I do like the ending. I like the fact that there was no clear resolution to the dilemma. Neither of them. There's two survivors, McCready and I forget the other gentleman's name. Childs. And they don't trust each other. They're both injured. Their home is in flames, so they have at the most like a day to live before they freeze to death. So it's just so bleak, such a bleak ending, and they still don't know, if are we infected, either of us, both of us, neither of us. Either way, they're not getting home, and that just it just gets the mind going. Were they rescued? Did the creature find a way to escape? I just like that. There's no clear cut answer.
Nope. It's just them, two guys drinking in the snow.
Slowly dying.
And they're just like, we're going to see what happens.
All right, now, chaps, we're going to go ahead and talk about our dislikes. This is going to be a lot of little nitpicks, or things that we think could have been, like, changed or written maybe a little bit better, or maybe extra scenes to explain that. What?
It just looks funny from the
me
side.
like waving this thing around?
It just looks funny from the side.
I do have two, and I wouldn't say that they're dislikes as more as I just probably need to watch the movie several times to kind of really flesh out the situation. One of the things I would say is a lot of the background characters, outside of McCready and Childs and a few others, a lot of the characters bleed in together. They look the same, they sound the same. There was moments where I was like, I thought that guy was already dead.
Yes.
And once again, as I rewatched the movie 2 times, 3 times, it'll be cemented in my mind who's who. But it's the first time I'm meeting these characters, and they're in a crisis within like 15 minutes. So couldn't really bond with as many as, I didn't really care as much because they kind of all looked very generic.
Yeah. But still, even then, they still feel real. These all feel like real people. Whenever somebody dies, you don't even have to know them. You know that this was a close-knit group. So whenever somebody dies, you kind of feel it, the shockwaves throughout the rest. They're like, well, where's this person? Or what happened to Bill? What happened to Jimmy? And it just makes the fear and paranoia that's that much more palpable when everybody with every body they find, there's more paranoia, there's more scares, there's less people to fight this thing off. So I made a like out of your dislike.
Another nitpick is the whole spaceship. I'm trying to make a logical sense of the creature. The majority of the time, it almost seems like it's an instinctual thing, like a parasitic organism.
Mm-hmm.
But then it has a ship and it's able to build ships. So there's an intelligence there, way more than far beyond ours.
Yeah.
It's like it's an engineering thing. It's capable of deducing like mathematical things, and So is it a dumb parasite or is it a sentient being?
It like evolves basically is what I think. Like it has different stages. It has the stage where it's just parasitic and out for survival and trying to find something to latch onto. Then it evolves to a smarter form where it's trying to change and find the right form.
It's like
Venom. And then once it finds its assimilated form, once it finds a good host, then it figures it out and it like becomes sentient again.
I'm imagining it absorbs their intelligence.
Yes.
Yeah.
My dislike personally, I think you said one of them later is like I just felt like the alien didn't act within its full potential a lot of times, but maybe I solved my own problem saying that it's evolving in intelligence as it's shape-shifting. Because, as the little head spider, it was walking all slow. Because it's smart, but there it wasn't. Because it was, very obviously walking out the front door in front of all of them. Like, he was smart enough to hide under the table, the head,
when he was
trying to get away. But then once the spider legs come out, he's like, all right, fuck hiding. I'm just going to try and walk out the window or the door.
He thought that was his chance because they were all looking the other way. So he was like, okay.
But then one of them just...
They all just kind of went like... Because they heard it.
And he's like, you
gotta
got
be
fucking kidding me, dude. So many different little scenes, so many little subtle actions that we could comment on. But one that I thought was for convenience sake only and seemed really dumb was when this character Knowles... It's towards the end of the movie where they're it looks like a mine shaft. They're underground and the aliens where he's trying to build that ship, gonna blow everything up. I think it's underground at least. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a blown up facility, but it looks like it's underground. And there's a moment where he hears something. You don't even hear an audio cue or anything, but you can tell the character heard something, and he just starts walking off. McCready's right there.
Yeah.
They're at the very end of this thing. They know that they're going to blow this thing up and go home, and they need to trust each other and, stick together if you want to survive this thing.
Watch each other's backs.
Yeah, but he just walks off into the darkness of this tunnel, inspecting these, flashing lights, doesn't say shit to McCready, and just quietly goes off and then just disappears. So it turns out, as I'm editing this whole video, there happens to be a whole behind-the-scenes video I saw on YouTube where it talks about the scene actually playing a completely different way, but they just didn't have the time or money to get the shot done. So even with this one complaint that I can think of, it's null and void because it would have been better had they had just a little more money and time. So another point for the thing. Just the perfect movie, I guess. I don't know, did you have any dislikes?
Honestly, no, not really. Not that I can think of that were oh my god.
So you give the movie a 10 out of 10?
I mean, yeah, for all intents, I enjoy it. There's no moment where I'm like, oh, this is completely fucks up the movie for me, or
well,
this could have been done better. The only thing I did notice, and it's not a dislike at all, and it's not like anything, but there's no women. It's all dudes. Or if there was like a love interest or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I could see a love interest idea blossoming in this,
But she was sleeping with an alien the whole time.
Or if it was like, I don't know, like she's like, like there's a couple, or I don't know, something. I think that could have changed the movie, but I mean, I'm not saying that.
Not too drastically, because I mean, there is a sequel to this movie, and Marie Elizabeth Winstead is in it, and so there is the Norwegian camp had a woman in it. And it turned out the same way.
Yeah. So there you go.
But what a great beginning to that movie, though. I know it's weird to talk about the beginning of the movie right now, but when the Norwegians are just like trying to shoot the dog and like yelling at him, and if anybody had just known a little bit of Norwegian,
they could have stayed.
This movie would have been wrapped up real nice.
I mean, I was okay.
That's my dislike. I wish someone knew Norwegian. They should, right? They're all scientists.
I speak Norwegian.
Another thing that was cool, this isn't a dislike, but when they showed the picture of the Norwegians when they just found it, they're all happy.
Yeah, like, and they're the video camera, and they're all like waving, and they're like above the.
It gave me a
foreboding
feeling, kind of like when you see those pictures online, like true crime shit.
It makes it so realistic.
Yeah, because they thought they struck gold. Yeah, and then it ends up fucking.
Yeah, I think that goes to show just how good this movie is that even when we're trying to talk about dislikes, we just keep coming up with more things like about this movie.
Great point. So now, final thoughts and the grading system. So Audrey, we'll start with you. What would you grade this, and any final thoughts on this movie?
Do I feel like I enjoy this movie 1 out of 10? I'd give it a 10 because I enjoy it. I really dig it. There's not a part where I'm just like, oh, this is boring, or I wish I would like I'm tuning out. Like I love it, so I think I would give it a 10.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never feel for a moment where I was like tuning out. I was like, this is boring. Yeah, dude, 10 out of 10, all the way. Just a classic horror movie. Like I said, this is my 4th, 5th time rewatching it, and I'm still finding new things and still enjoying it pretty much just as much as I did the first time, if not more. Like we said in the beginning, it holds up today. Though all those practical effects, the puppetry, the makeup, the designs, it all still hits just as hard as it did back in 1982 when Kurt Russell was just a little baby boy. Slash, what do you think?
10 out of 10. I know it sounds a little boring. It's almost anticlimactic that everyone's agreeing, but I mean, first time watching it, I do believe I want to rewatch it again just so I can kind of have a firmer grasp on the plot. But I mean, the effects, we've mentioned it, has been spoken about to death, but damn the effect and the escalation of them. I mean, my favorite moments are actually the more calm ones, like that one guy looking up and he has like lobster claws and he looks at his friends like this realization, like I'm him, I got yeah, and it's just like, that's it, your life's over, like you're gonna get burned by your own friends. Like it's just so just bleak, it's so nihilistic. You're like in the middle, you can't call the military, you can't nothing, and it's just just the setup is just perfection. And once again, we talk about the effects a lot, but I mean, if it wasn't for great writing and great acting, great directing, great soundtrack, those effects would have been forgotten. Yeah, they might still hold up here and there to a couple of horror movie nerds, but in terms of pop culture, there's a reason why this one's up there. And downright fascinating. I just thought about it right now that we're talking about this, and I think the thing survived, actually, now that I think about it, because the blood that jumped, what happened to that blood when they did the blood test? And it jumped and it took off. They focused on the monster, but that thing took off.
Would you guys like to see a sequel, a true sequel, and what do you guys think of the prequel movie? If any of you guys have seen that one, I would love to know what you guys think of either of those, or ideas, or if you like the past one, or you think a new one should be made, and who would make it, who would direct that, be in that. That'd be great. That's a good fan casting idea. I think Chris Pratt should play the Thing in the sequel.
Oh Lord.
He should be the voice.
What if they they wouldn't be able to bring Kurt Russell, because then that would give away that he survived.
Yeah,
but they could, and if it's a good enough story, they could roll with it, because I mean, we all deep down, we all want Kurt Russell to have survived that, I think.
I mean, you want that, but he had already made up his mind that he was gonna die.
Yeah.
So I kind of
halfway through the movie, he was like, "We're fucking dying, guys." Yeah. Just so you know.
So I kind of like to see it as like, you know what, he was selfless, a different story. And he.
Yeah, that was their story.
I have a compromise. Ooh. That can make a lot of people happy, without kind of stepping on the toes of what's come before. How come there's no The Thing video game? And it would ignore the events of that shittier prequel that I know wasn't received well. Rewrite all that, the Norwegian camp, and it's kind of like a Resident Evil
play
thing.
Through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Horror.
And you don't know who it is. Maybe the story changes who it is depending on your actions. If we can forgive countless terrible Michael Myers and Jason and Predator, I'm throwing them out there. I'm throwing them under the bus because there's been some terrible Predator movies and Alien movies. If those guys still have legs and they still have a franchise, then I say go for it. If there's the right script, the right director, the right team.
Well, all right, my lovely lot of laxatives. That's going to do it from us here at Twin Engines of Destruction. Thank you for joining us for our Halloween special. Please make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it and put down in the comments what you thought of our review. If you have any disagreements, tell us what you thought about this movie. I would really much like to know if you guys think they should continue the Thing franchise or just leave it as it is. And if they do want to continue it, please give us some ideas. What do you think they should do with it? Maybe the video game idea was a great idea. I really like that. Morticia, do you have anything you would like to plug, my lovely?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. They'll go ahead and just put the links in the description. But yeah, I'm an artist, so you can find my art there. That's where I post most of the time. And yeah, I'll also post about movies because I watch a lot of movies.
She is much too modest. She is a very gifted artist. Please be sure to go follow this lovely lady's work, okay? And Slash, do you have anything you would like to plug?
I would like to plug the Cuervo Negro, the music composer Cuervo Negro's music video, Dark Trees. I wrote and directed it. Audrey was actually the star. She plays a desert witch in it. You were helping in production. In fact, Ben here was the door that magically appears in front of the fire in the ritual.
The best door.
So,
the best door you've ever seen.
We had a blast. It was a great story and a short film. And it's also, Halloween inspired because we actually made it for Halloween last year. So check that out. Link down below. We had a great time. It's to this day one of my most proudest moments artistically.
Yeah,
ever.
fantastic music video and great music to go along with it. So that was a great time. So be sure to go check both of those out. I'll make sure to put the links to all those projects below in the description. Thank you so much again for watching, guys. Again, just to reiterate, be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and follow for more, guys. We just love having conversation about our favorite media, movies, video games, TV, all of it. We just have a great time here. Look at us, obviously, we're just having a ball for Halloween. We hope you guys have a great Halloween, and we hope to see you again on our next video. Till then,
cheers. Everyone.
Bye.
Here's the thing. Bye. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.